Welcome back, fans, family, friends, members, guys and gals. It's me. It's me. It's the GOC coming to you live to tape 25 feet below the surface of the earth for another episodic YouTube adventure and story time here on Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel for Chaos Corner. One man, unique, unedited, unscripted, raw dog for you, the fans. Sit back and relax, grab a snack, grab a beverage, leave a comment, drop an elbow on that like button, subscribe, share, get us into the algorithm, become a member. It's only $2 or $3 a month. It's the best way to support this channel. I can't thank you guys and gals enough for being here as we continue with part 5 of the life teachings of Bruce Lee. Be water, my friend. It applies not only to the battle form of martial arts, but also in philosophy, spirituality, life experiences, things that you encounter every day, interpersonal relationships, and you're going to find that out. Go back and check out the first 5 episodes. 4 or 5 parts. I believe I did 5 parts. This is the 6th part. And we'll be back to cover this whole series. It means a lot to me. It's applied a lot to me in my life. I've learned a lot already, and I hope that I can do that for you. So you're better off when you walk out of here than when you fucking walked in here. So you can hold a conversation and feel confident at your next holiday gathering, your next venue, your next party, your next visit to the restaurant, or you go hang out at the bar or the water cooler at work or wherever the fuck it is that you hang out. But I don't know, man. But you'll be better off by being a part of this show and this channel. Nobody works harder for you than I do. Over 6,500 videos, over 1.5 million total views. And if I could bring some levity, it's not all about the IWC. It's about what I present on this channel as far as book reviews, Chaos Corner shows, flashbacks, classics, knowledge and faith, whatever the playlists are. It has a connection to me and then to you personally. So let's roll. And if we get interrupted by that arch enemy of mine, that mechanical AI voice, I guess it's a woman. It sounds like a woman, but in this day and age, and you know me, I don't care about your sexual identity, orientation, color, creed, religion, politics. I don't care about any of that. Keep it to yourself. You have a right to express. Just don't jam it down my throat. I judge you on the content of your character, not on what you look like, where you come from. I treat you, how the way you treat me. Doesn't matter who you are, what you look like, what your background is. In order to get respect, you have to start with respecting yourself. And once you do that, you open other people's minds to respecting you. So let's dive right into it. Part 6 of Be Water, my friend. As I said in some of the other episodes, the shows, because this isn't a fucking podcast, it's a show. No better than anyone else, but unique. And as I said, nobody works harder for you than I do on this channel. And I don't care if nobody's watching, I'm the only one watching, or like it was last time at this year, 65,000 people a week watching this channel. And 40% of the demographic were women. I gotta be doing something, right? And just think, I really don't make a nickel off of this. You want to become a member? Much appreciated, but not needed. But again, as I said, it's the best way to support this channel. Leave a comment. Hit that like button. It's free. So, it's early in the morning, so I'm a little amped up. Thanks for bearing with me. We're going to continue with this series into the winter solstice, through Thanksgiving, through the birth of Christ, and into the new year. So I hope you guys have your notebooks out. I will be taking attention. If you can't learn something from this, I mean, that's why you're here. You learn facts. This isn't chicanery and opinions and viewpoints. You learn history. Thank you. If he's for us, no one else can be against us. Use your own discernment. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Stay mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually fit, because each one of us has a story. We're all going through hard times. Doesn't matter what's going on with politics and the government and the world and natural disasters and crime. You have to put on that suit of armor every day. No right, no wrong. We're judgy fucks, aren't we? Just admit it. Maybe you're currently trying not to be judgmental in your life. And if so, good. But you still catch yourself doing it sometimes, don't you? Me too. That's for sure. But the more I practice not judging, the better I get at maintaining this non-judgmental attitude, and the more freely and peaceably I can navigate the world. What does it mean to be judgmental? It means to assign a value of right or wrong, good or bad, like or dislike to something or someone. How does this hold us back? First, let's distinguish between judgment and discernment. This is my best part of this chapter. A judgment in the most traditional sense means a conclusion or decision as by a court or a judge. The oldest form of judgment comes from the Bible and typically refers to a storm or a plague sent by God to punish people. Heavy, right? But discernment is less of a conclusion and more of a process. It's the ability to make valuable perceptions about something. Now, you guys know my background in law enforcement. Whether it be a bounty hunter, a repo man, private investigator, a personal security, crowd control, 25 years behind the walls with society's worst, who will never see the street ever again, the people that you call dangerous, or whether it's working from coast to coast, all up and down the East Coast, from Connecticut to Florida and every state in between, as a bouncer, a doorman, interpersonal communications. Just remember who you're dealing with here in my background. Read the description up and top, and you'll understand a little bit more about who I am, why I present the things that I do, and why we're reviewing this right now. That's what you get here on this channel. Reality. Yeah, you'll get some chicanery, and yeah, it's a little bit of a gimmick and an act sometimes with the look, but what you see is what you get. I'm not hard to find. I am the guardian of chaos, Big Daddy. I do tell it like it is. And I'll say that to say this. Let's get back to judgment and discernment. And I just want you to realize what you're watching here. And I really do appreciate each and every one of you. It's a little deep for some people. It's not for everybody. We were talking about the difference between judgment and discernment. One spiritual definition even calls discernment perception in the absence of judgment with a view to obtaining spiritual direction and understanding. When we need to make decisions in life, these are, of course, considerations to take into account. But the approach we take makes all the difference. When we're judging, we take a rigid position, whereas when we're discerning, we're perceiving with the goal of understanding. A judgment holds us back because it limits our consideration of other options. It also pits us against one another. Makes sense. Because if something or someone is right, then that means that someone else is always wrong. That's not always the case, and we know that in real life. But a discernment is a choice made for oneself based on the available data without blame. The difference between judgment and discernment may be hard to see right away, but practice asking yourself, am I judging right now? Or am I allowing information in with the goal of understanding what is really going on and how I really feel? As you become more aware, you'll be able to feel a difference between the two. A judgment may feel like a hard line running through you or like a shield that keeps things away from you. A discernment may feel more like water rushing over you while you pan for gold. There's a pureness, if I said that correctly, a fluidity, if you will, as you sift through the information. Sift through like a panhandler. One of my favorite books is The 4-Hour Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, a quick and beautiful read with great practical impact. The 4 agreements deal specifically with dropping your assumptions and not taking things personally. What do you need to do in order to achieve those 2 things? As Ruiz suggests in the title of his book, you must make certain agreements with yourself about how to encounter the world. And as my father suggests, you need to stop making everything and everyone right or wrong. It's the same thing as black or white. It's the same thing. It's not always that way. Do not condemn, do not justify. To truly understand, there must be a state of choicelessness awareness in which there is no sense of comparison or condemnation. No waiting for a further development of the thing we are talking about in order to agree or disagree. Awareness only works if it's allowed free play without interference. Above all, don't start from a conclusion. Hello? McFly? Is anybody home? Do not condemn, do not justify. To truly understand, there must be a state of choiceless awareness in which there is no sense of comparison or condemnation, no waiting for a further development of the thing we are talking about in order to agree or disagree. Are you catching on yet? This is the second time I'm saying it. Awareness only works if it's allowed free play without interference. Above all, don't start from a conclusion. Think about why I said that and read that to you twice. Perhaps the most important part of this episode, this chapter, this part. And again, I believe we're in part 6 of the series. Peheawoi, Melihini Kane, and Wahini. Pupule Wiki Wiki, Aloha and Mahalo from the GOC. Arigato from the Chaos-san. Konnichiwa. When you're waiting for a further development in order to agree or disagree, you're waiting to judge based on a personal assumption or belief you already have, and you're taking, and that you are looking to defend. That's what it's about. You're looking at a preconceived perception that you already had. Remember the man and the Zen master from the last chapter? Your cup is too full. Your awareness is being squeezed into the limited framework of your comparison or your condemnation. You are no longer in flowing discernment. Rather, you are waiting for the moment to pounce to your judgment. Excuse me. Does that feel good? But honestly, waiting to pounce? I don't know, unless you're a leopard? A cheetah? Or does it feel stressful? Like you're the goalie waiting tensely to block a penalty kick at all times, to use a football soccer analogy, or as a hockey goalie, a hockey comparison, looking to block that puck at all times. What a great sports comparison to spirituality, life, realism, discernment, judgment. This applies to every aspect of life. That's why this reading has captured me. And again, I've been studying this man since he died at 32, 33 years old. I first was exposed to Bruce Lee in film and through teachings, believe it or not, as like a 7 and 8 year old boy. And then throughout my being a boy, into a teenager, into a young man, into an adult. Tells you a little bit about my background as well. Let's go back to a fight as our best example. You come into a fight cocky and sure you'll win. That confidence even fuels some pretty sweet moves on your part for a minute. Then you get hit in the face. Maybe you get upset. Maybe your confidence gets a little rocked. It's happened to all of us. Be honest now, look in the mirror. Either way, you feel something. And instead of just allowing that feeling to pass through you and staying present with the situation, you let that feeling take you over. Now you're mad or worried, so you react accordingly. Maybe you overreach with your swing and your anger, or you get tentative in your strikes out of fear. Come on now, it's fight or flight. Listen up, guys. Take notes. Go rewind this and rewatch it again at your leisure. If your opponent is on their game, they can see that they've gotten to you, and now they have their way with you and their way in. They slip in a kick in the thigh because you were distracted and no longer present. Uh-oh. This isn't going as you envisioned it. You start making mistakes because you're ungrounded and spinning into anxiety. Reality is no longer matching your preconceived plan. Your opponent lands one more heavy hand, and now it's lights out. Similarly, my father submits that it's our reaction to difficult situation that matters most, and not the situation itself. Let me say it again. Our reaction to difficult situation is what matters most, and not the situation itself. Believe me that in every big thing or achievement, there's always obstacles, big or small, and the reaction one shows to such obstacles is what counts, not the obstacle itself. I've learned that if being challenged means one thing, it's that your reaction to it. You came into the fight with a foregone conclusion. I'm going to win. I'm better than them. Never underestimate your opponent. Then you got hit and it rocked you and it stopped being present with the fight. Your mind got hung up, trapped, and couldn't stay with it. Then your fear kicked in, and all that training, all your tools become useless because you were no longer there to use them. It's like Mike Tyson used to say when he was in his heyday in the 80s. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And I'm pretty sure he got that saying from Bruce Lee. What goes around comes around and comes back around. Don't hate the player, hate the game. But no need to condemn yourself. No need to condemn yourself. You got attached into what should have happened. And when that didn't transpire, you were lost. People get lost. It happens. And the goal is to try to not be lost any longer than it takes to be found again. Are you listening? After all, there is no right or wrong. There's only what's happening in your response. So stop trying to come up with a magic one-size-fits-all solution. There is no flawless, preconceived roadmap in life. And at over 60 years old, I can tell you that. And this is Bruce Lee at 32 telling you that. Listen to what we're saying. And I'm not saying I'm Bruce Lee. Just talking about certain wavelengths and things accomplished in life and similarities on paths that we have run. And that's just the truth of it. A lot of us could say this. Again, there's no flawless, preconceived roadmap to life. Not even the Rand McNally, which you probably should always have in your car or your whatever you're traveling in. Within all our grand notions and ideas, there is only ever the right here and the right now. One day at a time, live in the moment, which I've been echoing probably for at least 30 years. I kind of caught on quick. Doesn't mean it was successful for me all the time, because it certainly wasn't. We all had our trials and tribulations. Each and every one of you. None of us are any different. Let me pull these back around, because this is so apropos as to what we're living through right now and the challenges in life. Did you guys ever used to read Easy Riders, or even see the movie Easy Riders? Yeah, this is a throwback sweatshirt that they had sent me. I'm not trying to think what year. I'm not sure what year it was, but certainly easy on the eyes. Let's not get distracted now. Be water, my friend. What is? Ponder. Reflect. What is? We touched on presence in chapter 1, and we likely will again and again throughout the book, because it's an important concept. Whole books have been written about just one topic. Whole movements, such as mindfulness, about being present. And our empty cup, our neutral but mobile stance, begins with presence as well. The corny question that you've been asked at one time or another in your life by somebody in your family or friends or a stranger. Hey, GOC. Hey, Chaos. Hey, Big Daddy. Is your cup half full or half empty? You answer that as I take a sip. Think about it. Let's get back to where we were. What is? Thanks for being here. Whole books have written about just one topic. We told that. And our empty cup, our neutral but mobile stance, begins with presence as well. I've always said aura, presence, charisma, all different aspects at different times. Discernment. Again, guys, excuse me. I'm still recovering from that. Whatever it is the wife and I have been going through for the last 10 days. I've backed out on multiple events, so on and so forth, but your health has to come first. If you're new to the idea of mindfulness or being present, let me try to set a simple framework for our purposes in this moment. The idea of being present is the idea of being fully aware and in touch with what's happening right now. Not letting your mind, for example, jump into the past to compare what you're doing right now to a similar thing that you did last year. What I got on my hat there, and I think I did it earlier today. And not jumping ahead into the future and think about what you're going to be doing this afternoon or next week, or thinking about how or what you're experiencing now will benefit you. It'll benefit you later. The practice of mindfulness is focusing one's awareness on the present moment and experiencing it fully. That's why I always bring up that old adage I've been saying for years, the windshield and looking back at the rearview mirror. Don't stay back there too long in the past. It's gone. Nothing can be changed. But it's there out of respect, because it taught you and kept you to where you wanted to get. And then, of course, because of the windshield, which is much bigger than the past of the rearview mirror, you're going to look ahead and the future's wide open. But without that, you wouldn't be here or get to where you want to go. And then it's full speed ahead. Mash the pedal. But always be within. That's gone. Can't go back and get it. As I said, that hasn't happened yet. Be here. Where were we? Because we're human, and particularly if we're not practicing at staying present, thoughts are going to pop up to distract us from the present moment. And those thoughts may lead to feelings or vice versa. And those feelings may generate more thoughts about the feeling. This is normal. In fact, it may never have occurred to you that in any other way of being was possible for what's going on. So rather than try to beat down our thoughts and feelings, which gives them more power, We want to merely notice them, allow them, and let them pass through as we stay with the present moment. The notion of emptying your cup is the idea of letting go of the past and the future in favor of the present. So letting go of the past and the future to stay present. Very impressive. Not easy to do. When we gently accept and acknowledge feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations while participating in what is happening, we are in touch with what my father called what is. We are participating in what is unfolding right now with our full attention, and we wanted to continually empty the cup as it is filled because the present moment is always changing. So if we stay with the present moment, our cup will automatically fill and empty as we move across our experience. Each new moment replaced with each new moment. Now, if this seems like a tall order, it is at first. And it's nearly impossible to be fully present in every moment for most of us. So don't panic. Not even very capable Buddhists or yogis or whoever it is that you talk to are present 24/7. There's only one that's present 24/7. Paying attention? This is a practice and it requires practice. The point of the practice is to be able to bring yourself back to it whenever possible, and especially in times of great distress. So that presence becomes the majority of your experience and not the anomaly. My father was not always successful at maintaining his awareness and his cool. None of us are. We all fall short every single day. But he understood the benefits. In fact, he was a fiery, fast-paced, driven man who could have an even temper. When things didn't work out, or when he hadn't approached the situation with the utmost awareness, what would he do? Good question. He would get upset, like a lot of us do, which is the normal human response. See what I'm talking about? Then after he felt all the feels, he would get really quiet for a while. This purposeful quieting is what I like to think of as his emptying the cup moment, maybe. He would quiet his mind to get back to a neutral state in order to see the whole picture before moving forward again. Like the little pooling swirls and eddies in a stream that form and spin around before the water flows forth once more. So how do we get to neutral? My father was an exercise fanatic, as we can clearly see from his physique. Now, this is Shannon talking about Bruce Lee. And an important part of his exercise routine was exercising not just the body, but his mind. Though we tend to think of our amorphous mental calculations and ponderings as somehow separate from our physical bodies. Scientific research continues to provide compelling evidence of the mind-body connection and the link between our thoughts and emotions to our physical health. Hello, McFly, is anybody home? There's been a lot of research, especially around the gut-brain connection, and even an entire field of research called, let me see if I can get this right, Sokonuramanujiliji. That wasn't right. Neuroimmunology. Hello? All it takes is a little patience and flow. Do you see? Even me, the GOC. Be like water. And no matter what task it is that you approach, it's not easy. But let's take a more general approach and we can all relate to, which examines the link between stress and the immune system. One simple way to understand the mind-body connection is to notice that when we have negative thoughts, we feel bad. We feel heavy or tired or agitated. Our hearts might race, or we might have trouble falling asleep or getting out of bed in the morning, or we just feel blue. In other words, our bodies respond. Likewise, when we are joyful, we have more energy, we feel good, we get more done, we laugh. There's a clear correlation, and as a result, we must consider the benefit of at least conditioning our minds with perhaps the same understanding that we have around conditioning our bodies, maybe even more so. Depends on what side you fall on. And in fact, our minds are already conditioned by what we read, how we were raised, what culture we're a part of, who we hang out with, what we study, and so on and so on and etc. We just may not be conscious of the conditioning we've undergone, and we may not understand that we have any part to play in this conditioning. What if we came to understand that we have some control here and can, in fact, direct, recondition our minds towards new possibilities instead of remaining unconscious or ignorant of its workings? What if we could work in collaboration with our minds rather than be at the mercy of our thoughts? What if negative could be converted to positive? What if fear could be transformed into enthusiasm? What if mistakes could become the pathways of our dreams? My father focused just as much energy on conditioning his mind as he did on training his body. That doesn't mean, though, that he got into calculus or crossword puzzles or Sudoku. Instead, he intentionally directed his thoughts, his intellect, if you will, and his imagination towards his dreams, toward the life that he imagined, that he visioned, toward the goals he hoped to achieve, toward positivity, towards understanding himself better. He concertedly conditioned his consciousness and subconsciousness, and deliberately conditioned his conscious and subconscious, as I just said, stretched his mental muscles so he could change his attitude to be more pliable, like water, and expand his perception in the direction of his goals. He had many tools at his disposal, which we'll touch on throughout this book and throughout these teachings. But this mental conditioning or reconditioning begins by preparing your mind to be open to receive, clearing out all the mental clutter and noise, very important, turning off the inner dialogue, and stepping firmly into the present with all your judgments suspended and all your sensors turned up. This mental reconditioning may sound daunting, it may sound easy, but it's both and neither. As with anything, it requires practice until it becomes habit, and then eventually the habit becomes second nature. So how do we start? Where do we start, Chaos? Ask Bruce Lee. Do your due diligence, GOC. Do your homework, Chaos. So they don't have to. I'm here to give back and to teach. Come along for the ride. Use your own discernment. This isn't for everybody, but it certainly applies to everybody. First, we must accept the idea that it's possible to exercise our own mental leadership. Our own. We must agree that we can command and cultivate our own minds. If you're struggling with this notion, then let remind you that you've learned many things by repetition and reinforcement. This is likely how you learned your multiplication tables. You probably also learn not to interrupt people who are talking by being constantly reminded by your parents not to do so. You have been taught or self taught many things, such as how to speak another language or how to follow a recipe. Still, so many of us feel as if we have no control over our thoughts and feelings and hence our attitude. You could say mental weakness. I don't know if Bruce would say that. I don't know if you would say that. Focus, whatever you want to call it. We're all guilty of it. Just giving it to your raw dog. Maybe we've never stopped to consider that we may be abdicating this control and responsibility altogether. So take this leap with me. And let's acknowledge that we have personal power over our mental conditioning. Not some teacher, psychologist, doctor, your friends, your family. It's right here. Stop trying to be something that you're not. Be how the Lord made you. May you. This is the first major step in a journey to discovery and to maximize your human potential. And that the first major step starts with this small one. What are you thinking about right now? What are you thinking about right now? Don't go anywhere. Don't you dare miss it.